welcome back to another Insider. And we start this month of August. Yes, we are already in August and in the last bit of 2025. And today we are going to talk about something that sometimes people may ask and there might be some misconceptions about. I'm talking about the pathway to become a professional translator. What should you have? What entails to be a translator? So come with me and let's talk about qualifications for translators. Without a doubt, this may be one of those subjects that usually creates a little bit of a discussion, and I must say, in a lot of times, I hear people saying things that are not entirely true, and there is a misconception about what do you need to be a translator, etc., etc. So, first of all, I hear a lot of people saying that it is an easy job, that you just need to speak two languages and that's it, and you can work as a translator. Well, that's not true. Not true at all, because yes, of course, you need to speak two languages. You need to be fluent in the two languages. So I would recommend a bilingual status. But that's not all, because there is so much more to the work of a translator or an interpreter than just speaking two languages, because there are a lot of things that you need to be trained and you need to understand in order to do this job. Just speaking a language, it's not enough. As you can imagine, for example, we have different fields in translation and interpretation as well, and you need to be very, very, very good on those fields to be able to convey the message. And there's rules. You need to convey the message fluently, accurately, and a lot of people also have a lot of misconceptions about this. Accurately does not mean word by word. Means culturally and linguistically accurate, in a way that when the target audience, that's how we call it, so your source audience would be the people that are going to read the text in the original form. Let's take English and Portuguese as an example. So the source language would be English, and then if you translate into Portuguese, the Portuguese language would be the target language, and the Portuguese people, in this case, would be your target audience. So when you take this as an example, the Portuguese audience, so the target audience, must have, or the text must have exactly the same impact that it had on its original or source language target. So the message must have exactly the same impact. For example, if you are translating a text that has swear words, it might be a little bit offensive, you may not be very confident with it, and that's fine. You can even reject the job because you are not confident in dealing with that sort of language. However, if you accept the job, the target language must show the equivalent of those swear words and have to have exactly the same impact. The same discomfort that the source text caused must be caused on the target text, so on the target audience. So this is something that just knowing two languages does not get you there. You need training. You need to know techniques to be able to translate, convey the message, have all those cultural traces on, because obviously different countries, different languages, different cultures, and you need to basically work with all of these in order to build a bridge between these two cultures a bridge between the two languages that you are working with. So it's easy to see that you need far more than just speaking two languages. And you may just speak two languages and you may not be 100% fluent in both of them, or your street level language, it won't be enough for your translation level per se. So first myth debunked. It doesn't get you there. Of course, you need to speak at least two languages. A lot of colleagues may work with more than two languages, so it's fine, and there's a lot of examples of that. I'm just giving a pair of languages, so two languages, because that's the standard. And it's true, you need to be fluent in the two languages, but you need qualifications. You need training to do the job, just like in any other job. It's it's something that happens in any other profession. So now, career paths. There is different career paths that you can follow if you want to be a translator, and also depends on your own circumstances. For example, a lot of translators may come to the profession as a career change. They may have worked on a specialized field for a few years, and then they decide, oh, well, I'm going to change my career, I'm going to become a translator. And then what they might do is that they might use, and that's obviously the right thing to do, they may use that qualification that they previously had, because it gives them experience, gives them knowledge, gives them vocabulary, of course, very important, and then take qualifications as a translator, always required. Just because, for example, you are a doctor, or you work in finance, or you are a lawyer, doesn't mean that you are a translator. You need a degree in finance, a degree in architecture, engineering, whatever it might be, does not qualify you as a translator. Qualifies you as a doctor, as an engineer, whatever. So bear this in mind. You always have to have some sort of qualifications in translation to be able to be a translator. So you can do it and choose that following or that previous path as a specialization, and then you take some, for example, postgraduate diploma to be qualified as a translator. That's one of the career paths that you can choose. But of course, tertiary education is a very popular path to translation, and a lot of colleagues obviously choose this path. It's very, very good. Obviously, it will be endorsed by regulatory bodies like NATI and others, equivalent others, because of course it's one of the highest type of qualifications for any profession. So, and a lot of our colleagues that choose this career path from the start decide to take a diploma in translation, so a degree in translation, and then work in the field. Some of these university degrees may even give you a direct pathway for certification with your regulatory body. I know in Australia some of these courses and some of these universities have towards the end of the course some subjects that will give you a direct training and pathway for you to then go and have the NATI certification. So I understand that in other countries there will be a similar arrangement. It's obvious that if you have a university degree, that you will be highly qualified and most probably accepted by a regulatory body, because you have obviously a recognized and a good form of education, of qualifications. But there is another thing. Some of our colleagues, I must say, not very common due to its costs. Of course, a university degree is very expensive, but some of our colleagues may even go for a double degree, and they take one of the degrees in translation and the other one they choose a field where they want to be specialized in. So they use both degrees and they start from scratch with a double degree. Not as common, of course, due to its costs. It's very, very expensive, but it is possible, and there might be some translators that might choose this path. And then you have the postgraduate diplomas. A lot of people may have, and this is another misconception, that if you have a postgraduate diploma is a lesser type of qualifications. That is not the case. You just have to do your research and choose the one that obviously gives you a good qualification. I would say that, for example, the diploma in translation from the Chartered Institute of Linguists, it's one of the highest regarded postgraduate diploma in the market. So it's been there for ages. It's been recognized worldwide for ages. Before, it's the one that I have. Before, it was the only qualification that the Chartered Institute of Linguists offered. Now they have a lower degree. So this is the diploma in translation is an OFQUAL level 7. So this means that is equivalent to a master's degree. And now the institute recently, I would say 2-3 years ago, they created another level of qualification, which is the CERT-Trans, the Certificate in Translation, which is at OFQUAL level 6, which is equivalent to a degree. So if you want to do one of these qualifications from the Chartered Institute of Linguists, of course, you still, I would say, need to do a preparation course. So you learn all the techniques, you learn all the specificities of being a translator. That's what I did. I did my course with the British Council in Lisbon, and then you go from there. You sign in for the exam, you sit the exam, and then you get qualified as a translator. A lot of translators do this as well. Some, as I said, in combination with a previous degree that works as their specialization. Others, as for example my case, as just the qualification of their choice. So this is a very good option as well. It's not lesser than any other qualifications, because it's very, very, very how would I say, demanding. You need to really be prepared. As I said, I recommend to do a preparation course. The Chartered Institute of Linguists recently launched a guide, a book guide with a lot of materials and things for people to prepare for the exam as well. They always provide examples of previous papers for you to train. And of course, there is you would do your research, and there's always places where you can find training courses specific for the deep trans. I'm not sure if there is for the CERT-Trans. I think the Institute of Linguists themselves offer some sort of preparation for the CERT-Trans. So I would recommend, if you want to go for this type of qualification, just have a look what it is in the market. The main thing with postgraduate diplomas, of course, they're not all made equal, is to see which institution is offering these postgraduate diplomas, what is the rating of these courses, of these qualifications in the market with regulator bodies like NATI, for example. so you know if that particular qualification it's going to be accepted, is highly regarded, etc., etc. For example, the deep trans and the cert trans are for sure qualifications that are recognized worldwide because they have an off-qual level. The deep trans is off-qual level 7, so master's degree, and the cert trans is off-qual level 6, which is equivalent of a degree. But of course, there are plenty of other options in the market, and I recommend that if you want to do a postgraduate diploma, just like with any other qualification, even if you are going to a university degree, you always have to look at what are the qualifications, what are the reviews, what is the the reputation of that university, of that particular course, etc., etc. So like with anything else, you really need to see what is there and what options and what opportunities will that particular qualification will bring you. This is very important. It doesn't matter if you have another qualification, it doesn't matter if you have worked in another field before. That per se does not qualify you as a translator, let alone as for example, as a technical translator or literary translator or whatever, because you still need that qualification in translation. Some language-related courses will give you knowledge in translation because it entails, and they have subjects that obviously talk about translation and include translation, so you might look into that because, for example, there's a lot of degrees in the literary field that has a little bit of translation in the mix, so if you do those, it will be a good option for you. So sorry, I would say do your research and then choose what's most appropriate for you. However, if you want to be a translator, make sure you have qualifications for that. That's all for today. I hope you liked this insider. I hope it really killed a bit of those myths that some people may have about translation and becoming a translator. I think part of this helps the massive devaluation that our sector may have, because people tend to think it's a very easy job, that as I said, you speak two languages and you're fine. Well, it's not like that. We have a huge amount of responsibility in our hands, because we are dealing, most of the times we are dealing with people's lives, people's businesses. Just imagine if we are dealing with court documents, for example. It's a huge responsibility to make sure that it's accurately translated. And just speaking the two languages is not enough, especially in these type of fields like law, for example, or medical, or finance. Imagine if you're not properly qualified to do the job and you just go and accept a translation in the finance industry, and you end up not translating the numbers correctly, because there is ways of translating numbers, and sometimes there is a bit of a confusion there in certain language, and then the company may end up losing thousands of dollars in the process. You are liable for that. So I think this is also part of the way that people perceive this industry, and people perceive translation and interpretation, which is wrong, by the way, is wrong. And we should start making this understanding that this is really a very important profession, especially in this day and age, where we live in the global world. Companies do not just stay in one country. They go global. They trade with the world, with all these countries. And of course, translation is a huge part of that. They need websites translated. They need documents translated. They deal with clients, obviously abroad, in other countries. And of course, they might need the documents, or they certainly need the documents translated to that language to those clients. And those clients need to have those documents prepared for them. Because if you are dealing with a client and the client is going to grab some paperwork, some documents that you are presenting to them, let's say with a product that you are trying to sell or show them, and they look at that and they say, this is a very bad translation. This is like Google Translate, and the quality is not there. It's the reputation of your own business on the line, and you obviously don't want your expansion to another country to start in such a chunky way. So this is where the translation industry come about. This is where translators or interpreters come to play, and this is a very important part that we play into this global world. We connect languages, we connect cultures, and we enable these companies or people to connect with other people in other countries, in other languages. Imagine if you are applying for a visa in a different country, you need your documents translated. You need them to be properly translated. Imagine that you are just going to give your documents to someone that is not qualified, and obviously they translate, for example, your qualifications in your CV wrong. They don't actually do it accurately. You may miss out on a lot of jobs in the other country because they might perceive that you have a lesser qualification than you actually do, because the person that was translating it may not be qualified and may not get that translation right. So this is just a few examples of what can go wrong when people are not qualified for this job. So, and this is a good example as well of how important it is, this profession, how important translation is, especially today. Yes, we have AI and machine translation and all of that, but machine translation and AI and all that, they don't do the job 100%. It's a given. They don't do the job 100%. You need accuracy. You need those cultural traces, all that cultural input, all of that a human does, not a machine. They don't have feelings. They don't know cultures. It's a given. You need a human to actually put that into the work in order to be obviously culturally fluent for that country. So this is why I decided to bring this today, so I could, first of all, I could debunk a lot of myths that there are about translation, and that is a simple job, easy job, blah, blah, blah. Non-qualified, another one that I've heard as well, that it's non-qualified job, anyone can do it, etc., etc. Well, that's not true, and that's why sometimes we see the disasters that we see, because sometimes people have this understanding of this industry. They may hire people that obviously are not qualified, and then they end up paying the price for that. May not be paying the price to the translator. They may be going to someone less qualified or non-qualified at all, and pay cheap for the work to be done, and then they can pay a very high price when things go wrong, when the translations are not done properly, and they're getting all sorts of issues because of that. So This is why it is important to understand the importance of this job, the importance of this industry. And for those who really want to become translators, I think this is where I wanted to go with this video. For those who really want to embrace this profession, it is very, very important. I would say it's pivotal that you understand that you need qualifications as a translator to do this job. You might be very, very good with languages. You may speak 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, a lot of languages. That's fine. That's a start. But if you want to be a translator, you need to get qualified and you need to know how to do this job, possibly in all those languages or in whatever languages you want to work with. So this is my advice. It's important that if you want to do this job, get a good qualification. There's all these paths available. You can go for the university degree, of course. You can go for the post-graduation. But of course, you always have to do your research. You always have to see what career paths each option gives you. In terms of, for example, certification, in Australia we have NATI. Of course, other countries may have other options. You need to put all these cards on the table, see all your options available, your costs, etc., etc., and then choose the one that suits you, the one that you think it's right for you. However, please understand that if you want to be a translator, you really need to have qualifications as a translator, and that goes for interpreters as well. A lot of people just think, oh yeah, you speak 2 languages, you just can come with me to my medical appointment and be an interpreter. Well, that's not exactly true. You need someone that is qualified to make that connection. That person needs to understand what they're talking about. Because, yeah, you may speak a language, but you may not understand the medical lingo. So you may not be able to do that interpretation properly because you don't know the vocabulary. An interpreter does. They are the ones who have studied. They are the ones who prepared for that job. So bear this in mind. If you really want to embrace this profession, just see all the cards on the table. Don't rush. I would say don't rush. Just don't go for the first thing that appears on your screen. If it looks very good, if it looks very flashy, oh, I'm going to go with this one. Just do your research calmly. Think about what you want to achieve within this industry. So you may choose paths that give you a good pathway to whatever you want to achieve. That is a good thing. If you do a good research, if you see all the options that you have on the market and what each one of them will provide you with in terms of pathways to certification in the job market, etc., etc., then when you make that decision, when you actually start that qualification track, you already go on the right track to get whatever you want. That is in terms of specialization, that is in terms of qualification. You will see what you want to do. For example, in Australia, we have certified translators, and certified translation is one of the markets you are in. I am, for example, it's one of my main sources of income is certified translation. In other countries, that may not be as prominent as, for example, it is in Australia. So you need to study all of this. You need to understand the markets you are working with, what is in high demand, what is not in high demand, what are the fields that you might have more chances, and of course, niching down. Very important. I'll be talking about this month as well. So make sure you do your research, is very important, and you see all the paths that you have for a good qualification in translation, and then make your decision informed. You need to make an informed decision of whatever path suits you best. Before I go, I would like to say that if you have any any suggestions of any subject that you would like me to discuss in these insiders, please leave a comment below, and I'll be very happy to accommodate your or if you have any questions, please leave the question in the comments below, and I'll be very happy to answer it. And put a like and subscribe to the channel with a little click on the bell so you get a notification of a new insider every week. The channel is growing, 80 subscribers. Yes, it might sound small, but it's steadily growing, and this year it's been growing quite a lot, so I am very, very happy. I'm obviously still on early stages. I have no YouTube awards or anything like that. I'm not a huge YouTuber, but I'm growing slowly, and I would love to thank you all for that support. So if you want to continue supporting my channel, put a like and subscribe the channel, put a comment, share with your friends. That will tell the YouTube algorithm that you are there, that you are actually watching my content and you like it and you share it. So you will tell them that you like it and they will show it to more people. Before I go, I would like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.